Welcome to Sujit Kumar Mangraj sir to Department of Agriculture Engineering, Parul Institute of Technology, Parul University for actually spare a time to deliver a expert talk come webinar on the post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables. Sujit Kumar Mangraj sir is actually competent professional with more than 15 years experience in field of food processing. He had done BTech from OUT, Odisha. Then she had done MTech from MTech and PhD from IIT Kharagpur in the Post Harvest Technology Center. And presently he is working at head of the unit as a head of unit senior manager to Mother Dairy Fruit and Vegetable Private Limited, Ranchi, in the Jharkhand state. So from Ranchi to Jharkhand state, actually he accept our invitation. This is a big thing for us. Uh, according means he is quite busy in his work, but however, actually, due to affiliation with the agriculture engineering faculty, he has agreed and he will ready to talk actually today. Now we will see little bit about more about him. Presently, this Sujit sir is working as unit head, Mother Dairy Fruit and Vegetable Private Limited, Ranchi unit. Worked as Assistant General Manager, Head Southern Operation, Calendar Agro Limited. Now Manager, Quality Assurance and Research and Development Unit, Foods as Limited, and presently they have worked also in the past Executive Research and Development Department, Jain Irrigation System Limited, Food Divisions. So he has a wide experience of the food process engineering, particularly on the fruits and vegetables. So today, my faculty and our student of BTech Agriculture Engineering will take the benefit of the knowledge of Sudhir sir, and I again most welcome him to our institute online. If it is a offline, then we will definitely invite to here in the presence at a face-to-face deliver the expert talk. But in the future, we will invite you definitely. Then, sir, okay, start actually your talk so it will take maximum benefit of it.
Okay, thank you, Sutar sir, and it's a pleasure for me also because you have imparted this opportunity to me to whatever little knowledge I have got during this 15 to 16 years of experience to share among my young friends. So that is a good opportunity. So thanks you and thank you, Mr. Fakir Mon Sahu also, who was coordinated all these things. Okay, so without losing more of time, so I'll straight away go to the presentation. Hope it is visible to you right now. Hello. Are you able to see the PPT?
Just a minute, sir. I am telling.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
it is visible.
it is visible. Visible.
Yeah. So I'm just continuing. Anywhere, any technical issue or any problem, please just tell me so that I can stop down there itself. Okay. So already sir has introduced myself. So let me introduce my organization to you all. So I am presently working for Safal. So Safal is the largest organized retail network of fruits and vegetables, and we are having almost 400 retail outlets in Delhi NCR region. So apart from that, we are also having processing units, majorly three processing units we are having. First one is in Mongolpuri, Delhi, where we deal with the fresh fruit operations, fresh fruit and vegetable operation, retail chain, and also we do IQF vegetables. The second unit was established in Bangalore. So there we do majorly the fruit pulping, the fruit pulp and concentrate to produce. And Ranchi is the last unit which is established in 2017. And here we are having an integrated plant where we can do both fruit pulp operation and also frozen operation. So it's the last and state-of-the-art facility that Mother Dairy has installed in Ranchi, state of Ranchi. So this is about Safal, and Safal is a part of Mother Dairy Fruit and Vegetables, a wholly owned subsidiary of National Dairy Development Board, known as NDDB. So if we'll look into the history of NDDB and Mother Dairy, so NDDB was formed in 1964, and then Mother Dairy was formulated in 1975. So this was during the period of Operation Flood for mainly the milk revolution. That time, Mr. Varghese Kurian, I think you might be knowing, everybody might be knowing him. He's a great personality. So he visualized and done all these things so that right now, whatever you're seeing, that India is almost a milk sufficient nation, and the cooperative movements have started. Because you are in Gujarat, you know the largest cooperative in world, Amul is there, and these are all because of that movement which has been started in that time, 1970s. So lately, after having success in that Operation Flood, so Government of India thought that as Mother Dairy is doing this has done already this in milk, so let's hand over a similar project to Mother Dairy to repeat those things in fruits and vegetables. So that's how Safal has been formed in 1988. So that's about this, and we are having a very large farmers network because we directly deals with farmers. So in 16 states, around 50,000 farmers, over 200 farmer associations. That's our strength in backend. And already I have told about our operations. We are into fresh, we are into frozen, we are into processing, like in the form of pulp we are producing concentrates, we are producing jams, jellies, juices, everything. All the fruits and vegetable processing, whatever you can think, we are there. Okay. So that's all about Safal. Next, moving to this unit, Ranchi. So as I told already in 2017, this is a project taken by Mother Dairy and Mr. Raghuvar Das, the then Chief Minister. That was mainly because in eastern part of India there is not a single state-of-the-art fruit processing facility. So that's why we have to be a flag bearer. So we have come here and we have established facility. And from last 4 or 5 years, we have done much things regarding this. And really it is a very win-win situation both the farmers and consumers. So before moving to the technical things regarding post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables, I just like to tell the final thing regarding Mother Dairy. So our objective or vision mission is that a farmer, because the farmer is the backbone of the food chain. You have to understand, and the farmer takes utmost risk in the food chain. If you see the food chain, so the risk factor entirely goes to farmer if anything happens or any things like suppose now we can think of a pandemic situation because we are going through that. The pandemic will see anything happens. So farmer has already produced, agriculture has been done, but due to this lockdown, shutdowns and all, if the produce will not move to people, then what will happen? The sufferer will be farmer. They will be suffered because it requires another year, another season for them to produce that product. So that's why what Safal has thought. Also, consumers are definitely getting suffered because they are not getting the qualitative produce at a stipulated price. So those things are happening. So what Safal has done, Safal has taken an objective that so by doing things that we are doing, farmers' income has to be increased, and the consumer will get a quality produce at an affordable price. So that's our basic objective for which we are working from almost past 30 years. So next we'll go to post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables. So I think all of my friends know that why post-harvest is important. Because post-harvest has utmost importance because whatever efforts either the farmer or the scientist or the engineers, whoever is putting in the agriculture activity, gives you a fruit or gives you a harvest, whatever, maybe a fruit, maybe a vegetable, whatever you think. So that's the
Your
produce.
slide, sir. Sir, your
Hello?
slide are not moving.
Okay. Now, in which slide I am?
You are in the first
You
slide.
change the slides, sir. Change the slides. Nothing else.
I think it is moving here. I don't know why it is not moving there.
Acha, on the screen, it is only showing first slide, post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables.
I have gone to, I think, fifth slide.
Okay. Acha.
I think some issue with the network, I think.
Acha. So,
Yes, yes. Now it is come.
Now it is
now
coming?
okay.
Okay.
It is coming. Okay.
So let me continue in this mode itself. So that will be better. Maybe a little bit smaller, but I think this mode will be better. Okay, so that's what I was trying to tell. So post-harvest management is very important because once a produce with lots of effort is being produced, so it's everybody's duty to ensure that the loss, post-harvest loss, should not happen or it has to be minimized. And what is post-harvest loss? Generally, people think that the loss in post-harvest loss means if we have produced something and it can't be eaten or can't go to a plate, then that is called loss. But it's not exactly like that. Its post-harvest loss doesn't mean only quantity loss. It is also a quality loss. For example, somebody is producing something at a utmost quality, like for example, fresh vegetables or fruits at a desirable quality. But during the transit or during the supply chain, if it loses its quality, then also it is called a post-harvest loss. So hope that is clear to all. Next, coming to the basic facts. So fruit and vegetable are alive even after harvest. So this is the first thing you have to understand, that though we are harvesting, that means we are detaching the fruit from the mother plant, but it doesn't mean that it is immediately ceasing its life or it is going to death. It is still alive. Next is fruit and vegetable contain high amount of water. So that everybody knows that fruit and vegetables are having, even like some fruits like tomato is having 95% of water. Some are even 70, 80 like that. But most part of the fruit is a water only. Like human beings, fruit and vegetable also go through the 3 stages of life, like growth, maturation, and senescence or death. Ripening is a latter stage of maturation and first stage of senescence. And this ripening is mainly governed by a hormone called ethylene. So this is a natural plant hormone. So nowadays, you people might be coming across persons or processors using this gas, but that is mainly a triggering process, so that the ethylene or the enzymes will activate the fruit to produce its own ethylene, so that the fruit can be ripened in a more uniform manner. So that's the importance of the ethylene gas. Next is why fruit and vegetable deteriorate. So there are 2 factors mainly responsible for this. One is categorized as biological factors, and the second part is the environmental factors. So we'll see that what are the biological factors. Biological factors are respiration, ethylene production, compositional changes, growth and development, transpiration, physiological breakdown, physical damage, or pathological breakdown. So these are the biological factors that defines the deterioration cycle, or that governs the deterioration cycle of a fruit and vegetable. Similarly, there are many environmental factors also, like temperature, relative humidity, atmospheric composition, means the gaseous composition of the atmosphere, then ethylene, light, and several other factors. So these factors are all interrelated. You will see, like suppose I'm telling you the temperature. If you are storing a fruit or vegetable at a higher temperature, then the respiration rate increases. So once the respiration rate increases, then the fruit, because as I already have told you, that it is having a growth phase, then a maturation, then it goes for the ripening. So the ripening phase, how many days it will remain after harvesting till you consume it, that depends upon that respiration rate of the fruit. If you are reducing the respiration rate of the fruit, then you can store the fruit for much time. So that's why even ethylene production also. Ethylene is important. At the same time, more of the ethylene also is not good for the fruit. So these are the factors, and in detail, if you require, you can go through. In detail, you will get to know that each fruit and vegetable have different, means you can tell that they will not be similar for a change of parameter of these factors. Like a fruit, a banana or a mango or a papaya or whatever fruits, they may show different properties once subjected to a temperature rise or a humidity rise or ethylene gas atmosphere. So those things are different fruits behave differently. So that we will study in the next part of the slides. So if you can understand these are the parameters or these are the factors which affect the fruit deterioration or the vegetable deterioration. So what we should do? So what best you can do so that the post-harvest loss, what we are telling, can be minimized. So that is first point is the field inspection, because see, once we are detaching the fruit, so we should understand that at what stage we should detach the fruit so that the fruit is desirable for us to for its intended use. Again, I'm telling you, fruit or a vegetable, once we are harvesting it, it doesn't mean that it is consumed fresh. Sometimes it is being cooked, sometimes it is being processed, sometimes it is being gone for other treatments. So that's why we have to understand what is the intended use of that particular fruit and vegetable. So accordingly, we have to choose the stage of the harvesting. So for field inspection, the field inspection of the growing areas should be inspected to ensure that the raw fruits and vegetables are not contaminated with other potentially hazardous materials such as toxic wastewater or gaseous emission from neighboring industries. Why? Because see, a post-harvest, as I told initially, the post-harvest loss doesn't mean that we are losing a fruit quantitatively, then only it is a loss. If we have produced a fruit or vegetable, but it is being toxic, then it can be considered as a food or a safe food. Definitely, it can be considered as a food, but not as a safe food. So, if a produce can't be delivered to its consumer in a safe manner, then again that is a loss. So that's why this field inspection is very important to know that what kind of chemicals or what kind of toxic waters it is being subjected during its growth period. Only produce that has been grown under approved conditions and that complies with the processor's specification for the raw material should be accepted for processing, because it is feasible to analyze raw fruits and vegetables for residual of agriculture chemicals before the consignment is processed. As it is being mentioned here, already I told, nowadays you must be came across a word called pesticide residue, and this is very fussy, and many diseases are related to this. One example is cancer. If you see in last 10 to 20 years, this cancer, the rate of death due to cancer has increased a lot, and that's mainly to do with these chemicals, agrochemicals coming into the agricultures. So that's why we have to understand that any processor, or maybe not only processor, any supply chain person who is bringing the fruit or vegetable to our plate, either in a fresh form or in a processed form, has to have its specification right. Means specification has to tell 3-4 things. Broadly tell one, physical parameters, which is appearance, its color, its sweetness, and all those things. Then its biological parameters, means it should not be affected, it should not be damaged, it should not be diseased fruit, all those things. And third thing is the chemical things. Chemical means what? It should not have the chemical residues in a higher manner. Whatever we can consume, there are limits, specified limits by Indian governments and other countries also for each and every pesticide. It should be within that limit. So these things has to be taken care, or has to be in our specification, so that we can get a proper produce on our table. Next, the maturity of fruits and vegetables. As I was talking during the last slides, the quality of many processed fruits and vegetables is markedly influenced by the physiological maturity of the raw materials at the time of harvest. Because if I am harvesting a fruit without knowing its maturity, then what happens? Then after harvesting, it may not be used or it may not be consumed in a proper manner. Like I'm telling, for example, banana. You tell banana. If I am harvesting in a means less matured or immature, you can tell immature banana fruit, then it will never ripen. Whatever you do, whatever ethylene you give, whatever you do, but it will never ripen. And at the same time, if I am not harvesting, some people you can tell that why we are harvesting a green banana and ripening, why not, like you might have seen in villages, they are keeping the fruits till it is ripened on the fruit and then taking for consumption. That can happen once I am doing it in my own field. Also that has its own demerits. Like suppose a fruit is ripening on tree, then what happens? You can say the birds, the animals, that will attract them and they'll spoil the fruits. So that's why it is not desirable also to harvest fruit at the full ripe stage. So that's why you have to see at what stage it has to be harvested so that, or what maturity it has to be harvested so that it can go for its intended use. The maturity of fruits and vegetables is often determined by visual inspection and from the tactile properties of the products. Tactile is a tangible property, like you see its color or its softness of the shell or the smell. So all those things are the tactile properties by which you can determine whether the fruit is mature or not. Then the key growth drivers. The demand for processed fruits and vegetables is expected to rise significantly due to the growing penetration of organized retail in the country. Already we have seen there is a market growth in the last 10 to 20 years in this sector, and the future is even more. Because why? Because increasing number of nuclear families are also increasing the demand of processed foods. Because the convenience factor, if you see any processed food, see like for example, I'm telling you, suppose our pioneer product is a green peas, frozen green peas. You might have came across that in your life. So what is that? It's a peas is produced. Green peas will come to market only in 2 to 3 months. In the winter time, the green peas will come, and that also not in the entire span of India. Maybe in the North India, you find this green peas. Southern India, it is difficult to get a green peas or green pea. What we are doing in the northern part, where we are having our footprint, so we are processing it into a IQF product, a frozen product. So which can be supplied throughout the year, and it's also convenient. You are not getting it's safe, and it's near to the fresh. Even it's fresher than the fresh. The technology we are using in IQF, we can tell it's a fresher than a fresh. Why? Because if you are getting any vegetable, you are not directly getting from the farm. Here it is being harvested from the farm that day. Then next day it will go to the wholesale market. Next day it will come to the retail market. You will buy. You will take it into the fridge. You will keep in the fridge. Then you will eat maybe after 3 or 4 days. By this time, the deterioration reactions or whatever enzymatic deterioration happens in the fruit and vegetable, and we are not going to get the minerals or vitamins for which we are consuming the fruit or vegetable. So that's why these technologies, like I'm telling IQF, is a technology where you can get literally the freshest form of the vegetable or the fruit. So that's why these are the techniques which has came to fruit and vegetable processing, and for which the demand in this sector has risen, and maybe in the next 10 to 20 years it's going to have logarithmic growth or like that. Another also factor is that busy lifestyles of such families have increased their dependence on food items that requires less time to prepare. Because the students are the big examples. I think nobody wants to. If I will tell somebody to cook, maybe you'll prefer some kind of instant food like Maggi, or a lot of instant foods are there. People will not want to spoil your hands by buying vegetables, cutting that, preparing that, and then making something. Or any of these, you want it has to be ready to make. Because it's not that we are lazy, we don't have enough time to do that work. We are having other things to do, and we think that is not means we can't spare our time for that. So that's why we want some convenient food items in a platform which can be consumed in a very less time. It can be cooked or prepared in a very less time. Next, coming to the key deterrents. So what are the deteriorating factor here? Why this post-harvest loss is happening, and what are the major factors here? Lack of sufficient storage facilities and improper distribution are hampering the growth of the market. I think this is very easily understood. Fruit and vegetables are always seasonal. I think very less fruits and vegetables will be there which can be found throughout the year. Otherwise, everything is seasonal. So in a season, we have to produce and you have to consume in the entire year. So, or maybe 2 seasons will come and you have to consume in the entire year. So for that you have to have proper storage so that it can be stored for the entire year. So it is we don't have enough facility for doing that, and even where the storage is having storage are there, we don't have distribution facility to take it from the farmlands and get into the storage facility. Next, existing standalone and integrated companies and logistics offering cold storage and transportation solutions are unable to meet the entire demand for such services. As I was telling, though we are having services, though we are having containers or cold logistics to carry these operations, but they are not, I can tell they are just like a drop to the ocean. The demand is ocean, means we are now doing in a drop manner. So that's the gap which has to be bridged out. Next, these factors are adversely affecting the development of the fruit and vegetable processing industry in India. These are the factors for which the vegetable processing, fruit and vegetable processing industry is suffering. Another factor also is the lack of sufficient storage facility and improper. This is already done, I think. Next is selection and procurement. So how the selection should happen and what is the ideal method for procuring fruits and vegetables for processing. So maturity is the stage of fully development of tissue of fruit and vegetables, only after which it will ripen normally. As I was telling in the previous slides, that maturity means maturity is not same or not, the indices are not same for each and every fruit. It will differ. And it is the fully development stage after which if you are harvesting, then the whatever ripening, whatever the changes happens, it will make it desirable. If before that we are harvesting, the ripening will not happen, and if happens also it will be partial, and it can ensure that the fruit or vegetable, mainly the fruit, will not be a desirable one to eat. So during the process of maturation, the fruit receives a regular supply of food material from the plant. When mature, the abscission or corky layer which forms at the stem and stops this inflow. Afterwards, the fruit depends on its own reserves, carbohydrates are dehydrated and sugars accumulate until the sugar-acid ratio forms. That says that once during the fruit development, so it derives its whatever food resources from the plant itself, the mother plant. But once it is being harvested, or that we're telling abscission, whatever you can tell. So after that, it has to depend upon its own resources, whatever it has stored during the growth or development stage, to ripen. In addition to this, typical flavor and characteristic color also develop. So if you'll see, if I'll directly not going through each and every line of this slide, I can tell you the ripening, what happens. If you'll see take any fruit. Once you are seeing like mangoes, mango season has come. I think you people are, if you are in Gujarat, then near the not king or queen of the mangoes, Kesar is there. So you'll release some that I think already some people might have released or maybe releasing in fewer days. So if you'll see the Kesar mango, so it will be harvested in a green manner. So the green mangoes will come and then it will be ripened either naturally. It can also ripen. If it is fully mature, then nothing is required. If you can store in some place, proper temperature, and it will ripen on its own. So while ripening, if you closely observe, the green mango is a hard mango. It is, again, I'm telling, color is green. It is not having any much flavor and all. So during this ripening process, what happens? The color of the fruit changes. And if you eat also green mango, it is not that much sweeter. It is having more acid and lesser of sweetness. So what happens during the ripening phase? The carbohydrates turns to sugar. So that's why the fruit becomes sweeter. And the acid, whatever the acid composites are there, though some of the acid composites also degrades and some also convert into sugar. So that's why the Brix acid ratio or sugar acid ratio changes. If a raw fruit, it will be more acidic, whereas a ripened fruit will be more sweet. That doesn't mean it doesn't have acid. Each and every fruit have some acid, but during the ripening it deteriorates. The acidity deteriorates and the sugar content increases. So that's regarding the taste. Coming to the flavor, if you see the flavor compounds, it develops some flavor compounds for which you can find a typical aroma for the mango or any fruit. So that says that the fruit is ripened. And also the color development. The chlorophyll pigment changes to the xanthophylls and whatever, it depends upon the fruit into that pigment, and you are getting a color. Like for example, see tomato is the lycopene is the pigment. It gives it a very bright red color. So those things happen. Also the cell walls, like a cell wall is a rigid structure, if you will see, but during ripening process it breaks and gives it to a soft, it goes for a softer cell wall, means it breaks down into a softer tissue. So you can find that the fruits after ripening are soft and you can really squeeze them into a pulp. So this is the entire ripening process which happens, and for this to particularly happen in a very good manner, you need to have proper conditions. The fruit has to subjected to a proper conditions. Those things we have seen in the earlier slides, like the temperatures, the humidities, the gaseous atmospheres and all those things has to be properly maintained so that the fruit can be ripened in a desirable manner. So next we'll see factors affecting maturity. As we are telling that maturity is very important. If a fruit is harvested at a proper matured stage, then only it can ripen to a desirable thing, otherwise not. So what are the factors that affects maturity? First is temperature. Higher temperature gives early maturity. Example is written here. The gulabi grapes mature in 100 days in Western India, but only 82 days are enough in the warmer Northern India for them to ripe. So even the same like region here, region is written that is good only. But if you see like banana, it doesn't mean that banana comes in a season. If you'll have a look into any, because I think in Gujarat also there are a lot of places like Bharuch and all where banana is plenty. So you will see year round banana is being grown. But that development phase, like they used to decide, there is a flowering, the initiation of the flowering. From that, they will count the days. That 105 days means the bunch is matured. So those days, the number of days changes as per the season. For example, in a winter, maybe it requires 120 days. But in summer, it may require 90 to 95 days. So that's why temperature is very important to determine the maturity of the fruits. Soil on which the fruit tree is grown affects the time of maturity. Example, grapes are harvested earlier on lighty sandy soil than on heavy clays. Similarly, size of planting material. This factor in propagated fruits affects fruit maturity. Example, in pineapple, the number of days taken from flowering to fruit maturity was more by planting large suckers and sleeves than by smaller ones. Close spacing of field bananas hastens maturity. So that's what like size of planting material that means if the planting material size is more or small, depending upon that also the maturity of the fruit, the time taken to mature the fruit will differ. Then the pruning intensity, it enhances the maturity of frutasan and Sarabthi peaches. So more pruning, the maturity of the peaches will be means in a better achieve. Means in a short time you can achieve better maturity if you are doing an intensive pruning. Similarly, griddling, process of constricting the periphery of a stem which blocks the downward translocation of CHO, hormones, etc. beyond the constriction, which rather accumulates above it, like in grapes, for example. So that means what happens, what is trying to tell? Like if you see, the fruit is a kitchen of the plant. So it takes the ingredients from the plant, like say from soil, it takes water or other minerals and all. And the leaves are cooking, whatever, and the fruit is the storehouse, means the food is the fruit. So it has to give back to the plant also. It doesn't mean that it has store. So whatever is being cooked, it has to go to the plant also. So if this girdling happens, then the storage, means the fruit will be bigger, or the maturity will happen earlier, because it is not giving back more to it is not going down to the plant. Next, maturity index. The factors for determining the harvesting of fruits, vegetables, and plantation crops according to consumers' purpose, type of commodity, etc., and can be judged by the visual means, physical means, chemical analysis, computation, physiological method. There are plenty of methods apart from this also, but majorly these are the methods employed right now. Visual, I think everybody, even a person to judge that whether the fruit is ready to eat or not, that is in visual means we to do. Physical means, like I was telling, firmness, softness, that even by hand also you can feel. The chemical analysis, like in our processing industry we used to do, we will see the bricks. Bricks means the total soluble sugars in the fruit. So TSS will tell. So that will see whether it is having desirable bricks. Like for a fruit, we are doing mango varieties also, it changes. Like Totapuri mango we are processing means it has to have 14 bricks. Alfonso we are doing, it has to have 16 bricks minimum. We are doing a banana, it has to have 20 bricks. So that also we are checking. Similarly, the acidity also on bricks. Next, computation, the heat unit and bloom to harvest period. These are also new technology which decides the maturity indices. Similarly, physiological method also, like respiration rates and all. So it defines that the fruit is matured or it will take some time, more time to getting mature. These are indications by which the maturity is judged. Various indices are as follows. Now we'll see in each and every fruit for a better understanding what are the maturity indices. Like visual indices, for example. We'll go into the category of visual indices. So we'll see, for example, banana. Drying of top leaves in banana, yellowing of last leaf of peduncle in jackfruit. So these are the visual things. Like banana, if you see the banana bunches, how to know the banana bunch is harvested or not. If the plant's last leaf is yellowing, that means the bunch is harvested, ready for harvest. But even actually, generally, the maturity index is never a single parameter. You should not check a single thing and just for harvesting it. There is always a multiple factors which are multiple indices which has to be clubbed together to decide whether to harvest the fruit or not. Like banana, if I can tell, banana, there are many factors. Like banana bunch also, you will see banana bunch, that end is there, that flower is there. So if that flower is dried and it is falling, then also it is matured. And as I told already, number of days, how many number of days has elapsed from the flowering till the maturity. That is also another thing. Then the rounding of the fingers, banana fingers, will see it has during the formation period it is not round, but while matured it will be fully round. So those things are there. So depending upon that, a farmer or a processor or a consumer, whoever, he will decide that my fruit is ready to be harvested. Flow of sap from cut fruit stalk of mango slows down if the harvest is done after maturity, but in immature fruits exudation is more. So this is also another thing, like they're telling, if you are any raw mango, if you will just cut it from its tip, then you will find if it is immature or less mature, then what happens, lot of sap will flow out. But if it is a matured one, so then you'll find that the sap has been dried out and the percentage of sap is less. Similarly, in papaya, the latex becomes almost watery. The latex, I think you might have seen the raw papaya, if it falls down or you might will strike it, means that milky white latex will come out, which is very sticky and all in raw fruit. But if it ripens, then it becomes watery and the stickiness reduces. In fruit like banana and sapota, floral ends, like I was telling, become more brittle and shade with a gentle touch or even on their own. So in sapota, the brown scarf on the fruit skin starts popping. So grapes develop translucent bloom. Other changes like angularity in banana, development of creamy white space between custard apple segments, and the flattening of the eyes in pineapple and tubercles in lychee serves as reliable maturity indices. See, friends, this maturity indexes, whatever we have gone through, there are even plenty more also, whatever is not discussed here. But it is a like we tells, agriculture or whatever processing we are doing, it is a culture. Culture means it is developed from ancient ages. Means nowadays we are having a tool called science, which empowers us to do all these tests. Even there are hi-fi technology which will tell you exactly, sensor-based technology are there, will tell you that exactly how many days has over, how much percentage of bricks is there inside the fruit. Those things can be done. But it was not there before 50 years or 100 years. At that time also, fruits were harvested at proper maturity because these things were there. These things, visual things were always there. Farmers were knowing that if this happens, then this fruit is mature. That is from their experience. It's not that they have cracked that in a day. It might have happened that they have plucked a banana which was not matured, tried to eat it, then they found that it was not suitable, it was not sweet or whatever things for which a banana is eaten, they are not getting. Then they might have waited for some many days. So like this, they have formulated these indices. And these indices are going to grow also, because as I am telling, it's not that these are indices already formulated. Maybe after some days you can find a new indices which nobody has observed, but people have observed and just put them in the list, and it has been serving the purpose very well. Next, coming to the next slide, seed development. It can also be used as an index of fruit maturity. Example, endocarp hardening for stone and fiber development for desert in mango. That I think you might have seen the mangoes when it is going for pickling and all. If you'll see that pickling mangoes, they can be easily cut. But once it develops little bit of seed, that stone we used to tell in mango. So that stone, that cell wall is hard. It is very difficult to cut through. So that also says that the mango is mature. Start of bud damage. Occasionally it can be used as an index of fruit maturity in mango. The buds are getting damaged. That also is indices. Then calendar date, as we have already told, we have discussed already how much days for each. Like banana, I have told it maybe 90 to 120 days. Sweet corn, we are doing a large part of sweet corn contract farming here in Ranchi. So we know that from the day of formation of cob, so it requires 45 days, 30 to 48 days, again depending upon the temperature, humidity and all, to have a proper mature cob. Again, the heat units, we have already discussed. Harvest date of newly introduced fruits in a widely varying climate can be predicted with the help of heat unit. For each cultivar, the heat requirement for fruit growth and development can be calculated in terms of degree days. Maturity at higher temperature is faster as the heat requirement is met earlier. Next is maturity of fruits. So fruit wise, like banana, we have already discussed. The maturity index for banana varies depending on the variety, proximity of the market, and mode of transport. This already I have told you that this is called intended use. Like if a banana, as I told, suppose I am in my backyard there is a banana tree and there is a big bunch. I want to eat it. Then I may wait till the top hands are ripened. So that time I'll see, okay, top hands are ripened. I'll cut the bunch. I'll bring it to the house and then I can eat whenever I desire. And it will ripen also slowly. But if the same banana bunch has to be carried to a distance market, then I may not have to wait till the banana turns yellow. If I will do that, then again, as I was telling, during the transportation, as the bananas during the ripening, it will soften. So during the transit, the mechanical forces will act and will make will make it pulpy. They will crush it because of during handling, all those things will happen, and it will be not desirable till the time it is reaching the consumer. So that's why it depends that when you want to consume it, in what way you want to consume it. So that will decide that at what maturity you should harvest it. So again, to go through this number of days from flower emergence, 110 to 150. Again, you can see there is a lot difference. 40 days is a lot of days because of that only. So 110 days, minimum 110 is required for a fruit to mature. So that is there. 150 days means it depends upon suppose processing, right? Like we are doing banana processing. We don't want the fruit to be harvested at the maturity it goes for the retail purpose. So we want the farmers to keep it some extra days, maybe 20 days or 15 days, depending upon the climate, so that we can get more pulp of the banana. If you see, look into banana is having a peel and a pulp part majorly. So in our terms, we used to tell it to like the second part is the pulp to peel ratio. In processing after ripening, our thumb rule is that we should get more than our ratio should be 2:1, means 2% should be the pulp and 1% should be the peel. In raw banana, it is written 1.2 to 1.6, 1.2 to 1.6. So that decides that because we require a pulp, nobody requires a peel, and for that, this is the indicator that if we are getting 1.6 more than 1.2 or more than 1.6 pulp to peel ratio, then your fruit is matured and you can harvest it. Disappearance of the angles or reefs. This already I told it will become more round. The banana will become more round, and you can find the reefs were disappeared. Thumping sound of fruits. The metallic thumping sound. If you'll tap it, then you'll find a metallic thumping sound. So which will tell that because this happens because the fruit's specific gravity, the pulp inside was there, it was rigid at the time of developmental stage or at the immature when the fruit was immature. So due to rigidity, the sound will be different. Once the fruit develops or becomes more mature, so the specific gravity will decrease. So that's why that sound will be a little bit different. The thumping sound will come. So brittleness of the floral remnants. So the floral remnant will dry and will become brittle. Dullness of the fruit skin and odor are used as index of harvesting. Again, I'm telling the fruit, if you see the raw fruits, they will be very bright green color, banana. But during maturity, the bright green color or the color will be little bit go to the little bit dull side, so that it says that it is mature. For long distance transportation, harvesting is done at 75 to 80% maturity. As I was telling, this is the maturity at which you should harvest. Whereas if you want to consume at your own place, maybe 90 to 95% maturity also is okay. Then coming to guava. Guava fruits develop best flavor and aroma when they ripen on tree. In most of the commercial varieties, the stage of fruit ripeness is indicated by the color development, which is usually yellow. Sorry. For local market, fully yellow but farm fruits are harvested, whereas half yellow fruits should be picked for distant markets. This is easily understandable because if the fruit is fully yellow, then transit damage will be more and the fruit will deteriorate. That's why it is desirable to pick a fruit which turned yellow, but still it is farm. The fruits are harvested selectively by hand along with the stalk and leaves. Ripened fruits become soft very fast. So these are the indices of guava. I mean, guava also we process in our Bangalore facility a lot. So as we told, sometimes when we are in the mid of the, like say, for example, pink guava one used to do. Pink guava in Bangalore itself, we are having a lot of plantation of pink guava. So those fruits come fully ripened in crates. But when we procure white guava from Andhra Pradesh, that time we will do that. We will have fruits which are turned a little bit yellowish but are farm. So these are the things in practically also we used to take care of all these things. Papaya. Usually fruits are harvested when they are of optimum size, light green with tinge of yellow at apical end. So we'll in commercial terms we'll tell a marking has come. Means the papaya is green during development. So when matured, you will see yellow markings will come. 3-4 strips will come on the surface of papaya from tip to end. So that is a sign that the fruit has matured. On ripening, fruits of certain varieties turn yellow, while some of them remain green. However, when the latex ceases to be milky and become watery, the fruits are suitable for harvesting. Normally, fruits are ready for harvesting after 9 to 10 months of planting. Fruits are available throughout the year. So here also again, the fruits when it is transported, like I have seen fruits transported from Andhra to Delhi. You can understand the distance is in excess of 1800 to 2000 kilometers. So once we are transporting papaya, so again we can't harvest a ripe papaya and transport. It will not be a transportation in truck from like Vijayawada to Delhi. So we have to harvest a fruit which is having that marking has come, and during the transit due to heat it will ripen. So people have now come across the technology. If you might have observed that they used to wrap newspaper in each and every papaya. So that gives a microclimate to the papaya. So as I was telling initially, the ethylene forms automatically by the fruit once it is matured. The ethylene gas remains in that particular newspaper, and it tries to, and the ripening rates is faster. So once the fruit starts from Vijayawada or Andhra, it takes 3-4 days to reach Delhi. By the time it reaches there, it ripens and it is acceptable for the consumers to be eaten. Similarly, in mango, I think mango everybody knows this is a common fruit. That's why we tell is So this maturity, I think everybody can connect. The fruits are ready for harvesting after 4 to 5 months of flowering. Since mango fruits are climatic, they can be harvested before ripening, but they should be fully mature. Fruits should be harvested when the shoulders are unfilled and change color from dark green to light green, like light yellow, red for distance. Because there are a lot of varieties in mango. We can't tell that like banana or others. Mango, I think if you believe or not, we are having listed in India more than 1,000 varieties of mangoes are there. We might have heard about 10, 20, 50 or something, but listed 1,000 varieties are there in India itself. So different varieties have different maturity indices. Like shoulder development, it is telling that is marked for Alfonso mango or Hapus mango, whatever you used to tell. That gives that particular indices of maturity. Some variety, like if you see one variety is called Sindura in south, so that gives that reddish appearance once it is matured towards the tip end. So like this other varieties are there. So they give different maturity indices to know that we are mature. Mango should be harvested with pedicel in order to avoid latex spots, because the latex gives an injury to the skin, black injury, and which is not desirable. Sometimes that due to the strength of the latex during ripening, even that part is getting deteriorated where the latex injury has come. That's why if you'll have a long pedicel, if you cut it, as I was telling, the sap will not come out. It will remain inside the pedicel only, and it will not injure the fruit. To protect mango fruits from latex spots, which looks very sappy when mango is ripe, their stem and portion should be immediately placed into the soil for 30 minutes. So this also can be done at that end of that whatever pedicel is there, what cut, you can put inside the sand so that it can go into the sand and get soaked in, and it will not harm the fruit. After harvesting, fruits are stored in shady place using hay to hasten ripening. Because as I was telling, why that hay we are putting, that is to give a microclimate. If you will remember the initial slides we are telling, the temperatures, the humidities, the ethylene concentration, other gas concentration, those things initially before. Nowadays we are going into very particular, like ppm levels. Ethylene has to be 100 ppm for ripening. Minimum 60 ppm is required for initiating or triggering the ripening. But earlier days people doesn't know that. So what they used to do, they will put a layer of hay so that whatever ethylene is being produced by the fruit itself will be enough for the fruits to ripen, or fruit lot to ripen its own. dipping in water can also check maturity in mangoes. Fruit which are floaters are considered immature. So this is again the same thing. To know that the maturity, which are floating, those mangoes are mature. Then sapota. Sapota, properly developed fruits have high TSS and sugar and reduced acidity and latex. Maturity is decided based on ease with which brown cross gets off the fruit surface and development of yellowish tinge intermixed with corky brown color on the surface of the fruits. At this stage, particularly no green tissue and milky latex are seen on fruits when scratched with nails. So again, sapota, like papaya, that latex is there means you can tell that the fruit is not mature. If latex is not there upon scratching, so you can tell that fruit is mature. Harvested fruit should be cleaned of latex and scarf by washing in clean water to make look attractive. In orange fruit should be harvested when they attain full size, develop attractive orange color, minimum 28% orange color with TSS or optimum sugar acid blend 8 to 10. Since it is a non-climatic fruit, fully ripened fruits when turned to yellow color from green should be harvested. See, I hope you understand what is climatic and non-climatic. Not going into the technicality and scientific. Next, simple thing: if the fruit after harvesting also the ripening cycle goes on, then it is a climatic fruit like mango and all. Non-climatic means it has to be ripening has to happen on the tree itself. Then it is a non-climatic fruit. The common commercial practices of harvesting is to pull the fruit from the branch, which may rupture the skin near the stem and leading to fungal infection and subsequent rotting. Therefore, fruits should neither be plucked nor torn off, but should be cut off, preferably with clippers, shears, and sea catchers. So that's why also post-harvest is such an important thing, because the harvesting, one is maturity indices or whatever we're talking about, and also the method in which we are harvesting. If the method of harvesting is not proper, like you might have seen the mangoes, there are typical harvesting in I think south and this part also they used to tell dandamar. Dandamar means a mango is harvested by beating it with help of a stick. So those mangoes or those even amlas also they used to do that. So those things will not have that much appeal and that will deteriorate very fast. But if we are plucking it in a proper manner, like if you will see the mango, there are picking poles. So you will have to take that picking poles to each and every fruit, cut it, the fruit will be cut and the fruit will drop down on the net without having any mechanical injury to it. It will be brought to down, then it will be properly whatever, so it will go into the supply chain. So those fruits, as there is no mechanical damage, those fruits can sustain a higher lifespan or higher marketable lifespan during its ripening phase or consumption phase. So that's a maturity is important. At the same time, how you are treating your fruit or how you are handling the fruit at the time of harvesting and also after the time of harvesting, that is also very, very important. Apple, then coming to apple maturity indices are TSS of fruit pulp has to be 10.5 to 12.5, ease in separation of fruit from spur, and change in ground surface color from green to pale. Again, I'm telling these are a particular variety. When we're telling about particular variety, maybe these are the indices. When the variety will change, again the indices will change. So there are plenty things. These slides are there to make you understand that each and every fruit, and also in variety, not only fruit, even a fruit is having many varieties. Like mango, I was telling 1,000 varieties are there. So indices will change. But we have to understand, we have to know that what is that indices at which the fruit is matured enough so that it can be harvested and it can go for the proper marketing cycles. Next, coming to maturity of vegetables. Now we have seen most of the common fruits. Coming to the vegetables, like drumstick. Normally, drumstick starts bearing fruits from 6 to 8 months onwards after planting. Green color tender fruit should be harvested. Delay harvesting leads to fibrous fruits with our matured hard seeds inside. See, in vegetables, I'll just tell you one thing. Fruits, it is very, very important. Then maturity. Vegetables, sometimes this maturity indices is a little bit dicey. Why? Because in India, the masses are there, or the people are there. Some people want a tender vegetable. Some people want a little bit matured vegetable. Like example I'll give, like say drumsticks or whatever variety. In southern part, if you go to the South India, or maybe people will be there, students will be there who are from South. So they require a little bit harder drumstick, little bit matured drumstick. They don't want a tender drumstick. Like in eastern part or maybe in northern part, we want a tender drumstick. Like in Ranchi, here I'm not finding any mature drumstick. It is very tender, like it is like a cowpea. The drumsticks, whatever I'm finding in the market, is like a cowpea, you can tell. So you can understand how tender they are. But in the southern parts, it is like my thumb. That thickness of that finger will be like thumb, thickness of the drumstick. So that's why in vegetable, the maturity is a very broad thing. You can't tell that this is the correct mature one. It depends on, again, intended use. What I want from the fruit, or what I want from the vegetable. For what purpose I am harvesting that vegetable. So that will decide. So like in green peas, the quality of the green pea depends on sugar content and tenderness of the pods. Pods should be tender with high sugar content and filled with tender peas. During maturity, sugar content decreases rapidly and starch and other compounds increases. This is correct because we does a lot of green peas here. So that is, again, like here, if you see, I'll tell, when Ranchi we are processing green peas, we are also processing green peas in our Mangalpuri plant. The green peas, whatever is coming for the Mangalpuri plant or Delhi, that is all fully matured ones. Because those are specifically brought to the market for different processors, not for the retail mass. Because they know here there are a lot of, including Madhuri, there are other processors also who processes green peas. So they know that this is being harvested for this processor. So the more the pod size, the more the matured, so it is good for us to get a better yield. Yield means, like suppose a pod is coming, the entire pod is not eatable. It is not entire pod. We're not going to eat. We want to harvest, or we want to process the grains only, the pea grains. So the more the pea grains, or the more weight of the pea grains, better the yield. So we want the peas to be as bigger as possible. At the same time, not bigger doesn't mean that it is dried, it is not having any greenish thing. Then the green peas itself will not be green. But at the same time, when we are doing it in Ranchi, we are not finding pots like that. Why? Because here the entire whatever the vegetables is grown, it is mainly for retail. Till after we came here from 2017, we are trying to inculcate a processing culture. But till now also it is a fresh driven or retail driven agriculture. So they harvest at a very tender stage. So we have to wait, we have to educate them, we have to tell them, no, this is not the thing. And that's why the peas we are processing in Ranchi is always greener, always softer, always sweeter than the Mangalpuri grains. So that's why I'm telling, the maturity is very, very important, and it has to be taught across because you guys are the futures of India, the students and all. So maybe after some years you will be in different service, and you have to understand why these things are such importance. Maybe smaller things, some time it requires that what is a big thing, it is not a rocket science, but may not be rocket science, but by doing this you can have if you can really save something. Again, I'm telling, save doesn't mean quantitatively, qualitatively also. Then India can have much rockets, because this is really the huge. If you will really go into, and your professors might have told you that how much waste or how much post-harvest losses happens in India, and the figures are really alarming. And all together we have to come, and because we are in the same field here, so we have to try that this has to go down, so that India one day can boast of a developed nation like USA or China, where the post-harvest losses are very, very minimal. Next, coming to ginger, the crop is ready for harvesting in about 8 months after planting, depending on variety, when the leaves turn yellow and drying up. Rhizomes were washed thoroughly in water 2 to 3 times to remove the soil and dirt and sun-dried. This is like ginger. Much of the tuber crops is like that only. Say rhizomes or whatever, like ginger or turmeric, or say onion or a garlic, like that only. If you see the leaves are dried, it is yellow, then you can tell that the fruit is or the vegetable down is ready for harvesting. Sometimes it is misleading also. Sometimes some disease also happens, or some nutritional deficiency also happens, where the vegetables leaves turns yellow. That is not the correct sign. That is misleading. So you have to see that whether it's a healthy plant turned yellow, or it's a diseased plant which is turning yellow. And jackfruit tender. Jackfruit are harvested when it is green in color, tender and well grown, and the fruit maturity is judged by dull sound and appearance. This is for the tender jackfruit, means where we are making curry out of that. Onion, again, I told it is similar to the ginger only. So the leaves you have to see, then only you can. Some number of days also are there where you will see the onion is matured for harvesting. Potato crop is ready for harvesting after 75 to 120 days of sowing, depending upon cultivars and season. The crop should be harvested when leaves start yellowing and drying up. If harvesting is delayed, it is best to leave the soil dry and irrigate the field lightly about the time of harvest. Digging of tubers should be done carefully to avoid damages, cuts, and bruises to the tubers. See, this mainly the advantage in case of the root tubers is that you can little bit delay the harvesting, because see, the advantage of these tuber crops are there. If conducive environment is not there, like it has been written that you are not irrigating those things and all, then it can be dormant for some time. So if it is dormant for some time, then that particular vegetable can be used. And like I have seen in ginger, if in market the price is not fancy, then the farmer will keep that inside the soil itself, and maybe they can increase the life of the ginger for 1 to 2 months also, or even much higher also. That is a technique again to delay the maturity or delay the time for harvesting tomato. The stage of harvesting depends upon the purpose for which they are grown and the distance they are to be transferred. This is a very classic case. You might have seen tomatoes, even green tomato also, some yellow tomatoes, some breaker tomato means green, yellow to red, then fully red tomatoes. It depends upon where it is going and what purpose it is going. I have seen in Maharashtra people eating the curry of green tomato. That is a very delicious dish there. So in coming to these parts, people use that chutney, a tangy tomato. They want more acidic tomato. So that has not to be fully red. It has to have some yellowness to it. Then only it will be tangy. And when come to processors like us, we want a fully red tomato because we will make a sauce out of that, or we'll make a puree out of that. So for that, it has to be fully ripe. It has to have the maximum lycopene in that. So that's it. The harvesting depends upon the intended use again. So that decides at what you are going to harvest. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that you are going to harvest a just developed tomato, which is just 10 days old or 20 days old. It has to have its proper size. It has to be matured. It has to be developed. Then only you can harvest it. Transportation of fruits and vegetables. So now the maturity part is over, which was very, very important again. Now we'll see once harvested, because maturity is, we have seen that fruit is mature, then we'll harvest. So after that, the transportation will come. The quality of the final product is often influenced by the way the raw fruits and vegetables are harvested and handled during transport from the growing area to the factory. Already I have told that if the mango is not harvested properly, the amla is not harvested properly, the dandamars and all, they will not sustain long run. They will never go to the retail market. They has to come to the processed market. Processed market means the price will not be the same you are getting in the retail market. So that's why this is a qualitative loss again. Maybe the quantity is not getting lost, but qualitative loss, because you that might have faced a very good price, but as you have not harvested them properly, its shelf life got deteriorated. It is not fresh enough, so it is not giving you that price. So that has to be taken care during the harvesting and transportation stage. Because transportation also, you might have seen there are very good methods of transportation in the crates, or some people in baskets also, or tailor-made containers for handling different fruits and vegetables. And some people directly load into the dirty containers like tractors or trucks or whatever, even it is not properly cleaned. So again, those things will have its say or have its thing on that quality of the fruits. Storage of raw fruits and vegetables. Storage of raw fruits and vegetables is very important aspect for processing industry. It is very important that around the year some of the fruits and vegetables is available for processing, so that 100% capacity utilization of plant could be done. So that is correct, very correct. Like when I was in Jain irrigation, we used to process a lot of white onion. So we are, I think, Jain are the third largest onion processors in the world. So but again, onion will be a one-time crop in a year. So we are having a lot of cold storage to store the onions, so that it can be, the plant can run throughout the year. Because otherwise only 1 month or 2 months will find the onion. And the plant's capacities can't be that much. Suppose we are producing say 1 lakh tons of onion. The processing capacity will be say 200 tons per day. So it is not possible to consume all the onions being produced. So you have to store it when the season is not there. So we'll take out the fruit, take out the vegetables, take out the onions from the cold storage, process it into a stable product, like a dried onion. We used to produce a dried onion there in different forms. So that has to be there. So for that, proper storage is required. Same is in case of potato also, like chips makers and all, or a lot of potato products are there, like French fries are there. We are also producing some kind of tikkis and frozen tikkis and frozen kebabs and all. For that, potato is required. That is being stored in cold room apart from the season. At this time of season, we'll buy and we'll store in cold room and we'll process to the finished product and then we'll market. Some facts about storage. Storage can never improve the condition of a vegetable crop except for bulb onus. Storage at best will only slow temporarily the process of deterioration. This is a very well-known thing. You have to understand that storage will never increase the whatever desirable things like say vitamins, minerals, or any like carbohydrates, whatever you are for which you are eating a fruit or vegetable, that is not going to increase. It can just reduce the decreasing deterioration rate or the senescence rate. It can, suppose in a condition it is not stored, it will shelf life is just 5 days or 10 days, and but if you are storing in a proper manner, maybe it can go up to 1 year also, 30 days, 40 days, 50 days. That can increase at best the thing, but at the same time the stored vegetables and fruits definitely will not be same as fresh. Definitely there will be impact on that, but at least we are saving it. Saving means, suppose we are eating a potato right now, and suppose I was telling the 1,000 tons of production is there from the agriculture side, farm side. In a day we are consuming only 100 tons. If we are thinking no, only we will use today, only other things will not store, then the 900 tons are going to be wastage, which is huge, which is still happening. 20 to 25% of the fruit and vegetables are getting wasted in India right now. So that has to be diminished. That is our aim, for which these things are very, very important. I think I have already crossed the time, so I go through these 2-3 slides. Product quality, factors affecting storage are product quality, temperature, pre-cooling, relative humidity, air circulation, respiration rate, weight loss in storage, sanitation, and air purification. These are the parameters by which you can decide that how much time you can store the product, store the fruit or vegetable, and at what quality they will be stored. Product quality. Products should be free from skin breaks, bruises, decay, and other deterioration. Products should neither be immature or over mature. Maximum storage life can be obtained only by storage of high quality commodities shortly after harvest. Storage properties may be influenced by variety, climate, soil, cultural conditions, maturity, and handling practices before storage. Similarly, temperature also. Increase of temperature above the optimum should be avoided. An increase in temperature will increase in the rate of respiration, causing the maturity. The importance of cooling down crops stores should not be underestimated. One crop not only contains seed, but is also producing it. That's why pre-cooling is very important for storage. This is pre-cooling, like cooling with rapidly moving air, hydro cooling, vacuum cooling. These are the different methods by which you can pre-cool the food so that the heat load the food can be, fruit or vegetable can be reduced. It can go into the cold storage. Relative humidity of the air and storage room directly affects the capability of the produce. It is too low, wilting or shriveling may occur. It is too high, development of decay, because the humidity more means more of a water, and microorganisms will act in a favorable manner. Air circulation and packaging, package spacing. Air must be separated to keep a cold storage room at a present temperature. Greatest need for rapid air circulation is during removal of field heat.
सर आपका ऑडियो बंद कीजिए थोड़ा.
हेलो.
हाँ जी. My mic is open. Hello.
हाँ बोलिए सर.
अच्छा, are you listening me? Hello.
हाँ सर बोलिए सर.
अच्छा सर, थोड़ा आप ब्रीफ कीजिए अभी, because it was 15:38, because time is little bit over.
Okay sir.
No.
Okay.
Direct brief it. Because we have one course of, actually we are covering this on the cooling method and etc.
Last slide कर दो ना.
Okay, ऐसे कोई बात नहीं.
Okay, sorry, I think the time, that's what when I was talking to Sundar sir, I was telling it will be difficult to complete this in 1 hour because his experience here.
I am also listening several call to you from our organization.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. And definitely, I could not have made justice in this 1 hour. But whatever little I have shared my experience during this slides, hopefully it will be helpful to students. And so, any question is there means I am open to you. If time is already over means then you can close here.
Okay, Sujit Mongra sir, we are very thankful to you to deliver a very informative and good talk on the post-harvest management and handling. You cover all the aspects in it. from post-harvest losses, which are the different causes of the post-harvest losses, and how we can reduce the post-harvest losses by different technology, by studying the maturity level of the fruits and vegetable, by different preservation technique, and by actually packaging practices and etc. So definitely your talk will be very useful to us, and in future also we request to you to remain in the contact with us so we can take benefit of your actually practical experience of the different industries.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the kind words, and it will be my pleasure if you will be associated with you anytime. And thank you for this opportunity, sir. Thank you all.
And I am also thankful to our Shahu sir who has cooperated for this webinar so much.
Sir, I am here every time, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Bye.
Okay, you can left.
Okay, sir.